can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 39th edition of Coffee with Ashish. And today we have got a very special guest with us, Subhashish Mishra from BookingGenie.com. And before we get into conversation with him and what his company does, I think it's pretty interesting that over the last few sessions specifically, we've covered a lot around accommodation, hotels, alternate properties, niche properties. We had somebody on our show a few weeks back. So you covered this space in a great deal of depth. But you would agree that flights have been, in many ways, the distribution has been commoditized over the years. But I think hotels still remains a slightly complicated space in which, whether you talk about distribution or whether you talk about directly, accessing inventories, a lot of people have created their own middleware products in this industry. But the industry itself has been very notorious in adopting things like real-time inventory access and whatnot. And there have been few companies, and one of them is with us today, Booking Genie, who actually tried to solve this problem to give a one-stop shop solution to a accommodation provider to manage their inventory, to directly reach out to a customer, without necessarily having an intermediary or an online booking engine or an agent in place. And I think in pre such platform era, you would agree, and I have seen in my experience also a lot of cases in which you've got walk-in customers coming in, you've got bookings coming in from OTAs, and then you have direct information or inquiries coming in, and sometimes it leads to a lot of either issues, or sometimes even guest experience gets become suboptimal in such situations. And as always, I've got a couple of cartoons to capture some of those situations and issues. And you would see, and the middle one I have personally also experienced in some properties, where if you're booking through a third party engine, or you got some discount, they anyways label you and identify you as somebody who's looking for freebies or just discounts. And so be the right one as well, where many properties know that if you're directly dealing with them, and if you directly reach out to them on social media, that's when you will get the most of the attention, rather than booking through an intermediary. And I mean, on a more serious note, as I was talking about, there have been few companies in the last decade or so who have actually tried to solve this problem for hotel providers or accommodation providers at large. And one of them is Booking Genie. And Booking Genie is also a very inspirational story because of many ways. One especially is, the startup has come out of Bhubaneswar, and I know Ashish is very passionate about creating entrepreneurs in the travel ecosystem in tier 2, tier 3 towns and cities, and some of the less known cities. Like, people typically associate in India Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai as startup hubs, but it's really inspiring to see startups coming in from Odisha, Bhubaneswar. And I know Subhashish is on the journey, more like a Sunicorn, and to become unicorn in few years from now. And I think it will be really amazing. And even if you track his journey, I think Subhashish started his stint. Is that typical shift from a regular corporate job to entrepreneurship. He worked with ICICI Group, and he rose to the position of vice president in less than 8 years. And then he started off his first entrepreneurial venture in technology in Bangalore, which was around outsourcing and serving clients in the US, specifically in the Bay Area and San Francisco. And he was also constantly traveling during that time to the West Coast. And I think that's when he sort of got the Silicon Valley bug and tried to understand how the models of entrepreneurship evolve in that area, which is a standard model for all entrepreneurs in India to follow and get inspired from. And I think around 2016 or so is when he really came up with the idea of creating a distribution platform, which is a peer-to-peer platform to touch upon the pain of the travelers who are booking accommodation. And now they've got more than 100 clients, and the company was finally founded in 2017, incorporated, and the idea has been validated with more than 100 customers on board. He also is part of the CNBC Young Turk community. So that's something we share with us, Sivashish. I was also there in 2013. So it's really nice to have somebody from Young Turks community. He's also a winner of 40 under 40 edX, and Booking Genie has also raised institutional capital and capital from HNIs and angel investors like Ambuja Neotia. They've also raised seed round from Apurva Salapuria, Kapil Chopra, who's ex-president of Roy and chairman Postcard Chain of Hotels, from Chetnaya, CEO of Wakefit, and they have raised more than $1 million by now, and now getting into Series A funding. And their vision is to reduce the cost of acquisition for hoteliers and hotel providers, and to increase their online direct booking. And the vision of Shibashis is actually to create a global organization which can actually make travel faster, cheaper, and better. And in fact, we have talked about this, Shibashis, in some of our earlier conversation, that how about travel and booking hotels or other travel products becomes as easy as buying a t-shirt on Amazon, right? Can we replicate that experience? So I think it's really interesting to see startups like yourself working in that domain. And I was looking at Booking Genie, and I encourage everybody to have a look at it. I think they've got complete hotel operating management system. So they've got CRS, they've got channel manager, they've got Snap app, which is their mobile app platform, which they offer to hotel providers. They've also got, there's a big fuzz about AI. We keep talking. They've got a chatbot, which is called Lisa. So I think they're really cutting edge, and they've got that one-stop shop solution, which used to feel very illusional a few years ago. But I think they've got one homegrown company who's actually trying to solve that problem. So kudos to you, Sebashis. And with this, a very warm welcome to you on Coffee with Ashish. And with this, I'm going to hand it over to Ashish to have a conversation with you while I sit back and enjoy my coffee.
Thanks. That was a nice introduction, and it really was nostalgic remembering those days I used to travel to Bay Area.
Right. Great. So how's your coffee, Sebashis?
Yeah, it's still warm, and the smell is always nostalgic because coffee is associated with me. I was not a big time coffee, black coffee kind of Americano, if you can say, sipper. But those days in US, actually, every office you walk in or any coffee shop, that those brewing, fragrance of that brewing gives you a kick.
So, there is a phase around it. Get up and smell the coffee.
Yes.
Right. Now let's just come back and deep dive into your vision. I've had a look at your vision statement, and you make two very specific statements. One, you make for the traveler. You say making them believe that they get reality.
Yes.
Right. And the second you make to the hotels, which you said to be the most preferred partner, but at the same time to build the largest community across the globe by 2027.
Yes.
Now, these are two distinct statements on their own. So can you care to explain what exactly you will do to the traveler to make them believe in this reality story, and as well, of course, to your hotel partner?
Right. So, Ashish, I would first, talk about my hotel side.
Right.
So, technically, in our industry terminology, we call this supply, and traveler the demand. So I will talk about the supply.
Right.
So when I was traveling, those days, so the first thing that came to our mind was there are a lot of so-called players in distribution, those who give booking to the hotel as a form of online travel agent or aggregator or a brand chain, which they take over the hotel and promise a lot of bookings, occupancy, and so these companies were promising cheaper rooms to any traveler. There was a lack of a company or a startup who was empathetic or compassionate towards the boutique hotels.
Right.
So these hotels were only left with more and more booking. However, the top line and bottom line were all gone for toss. They were definitely getting booking, but as a balance sheet, we really saw that the hotel was selling, let's say, 2,500 per night. After 8 years also, he's selling the same room at 2,500 per night.
Right.
So nobody is talking about a hotelier's pain or how a hotelier can earn a rupee extra.
Right.
So that's where we actually started, digging down, and we realized that a lot of things could be done. There were these ERP companies or property management software companies. There is channel management. Those were giving a software for the hotel to manage. Now it is up to the hotel how they utilize this software and take benefit from there. But there's nothing to do with bookings. Now on the other side, there were online travel agent, meta search, or GDSs, those who are booking. However, the cost of acquisition were very, very expensive. I have seen people revolting against it when the year we got CNBC Young Turk, actually 2018, November, the early morning, the evening, we had a session of this CNBC Young Turk going live, and the morning newspaper says that the Tri-City hoteliers is blacklisted some of the reputed OTAs.
Right.
They're not accepting OTA because of the very high commissions. So the big elephant in the room is definitely the commission. So we said, can we create a platform to who nobody owns? I mean, I will not own that platform as a third party, say Booking Genie owning that platform today, like any OTA owns.
Right.
So we will charge the hotelier for using the platform, not for every transaction that there happens in that platform.
Right.
So it is like Delhi Hat or something is there.
Display.
You just open the shop and you are taking the rent for that house,
right.
not charging him for every transaction that he makes on that particular platform.
Sure.
So that was the vision, and we have just started, I would say, miles to go with all of your blessings and mentoring. On the traveler side, we said, again, the traveler is confused. There is this meta search, there is this rating sites, there is huge amount of experiences going on social media. So we said, again, on this side, once we take up the supply, can the demand side come up to the experience? So the legacy framework so far has been like a GDS, like you pick up the dates, you pick up the room inventory, which category of room, how many people you are going, and then the database search happens and it gives you the best search that is possible. So we said, can a person search experience instead of hotel rooms? So if I am going to Delhi for a business trip, my experience that I'm looking for is a different experience. I just want a bed, nice breakfast, and a nice shower. However, if I'm going to the same location to Delhi with my family, so I would look for a different kind of experience. I would have spend more time in the hotel. My kids would love to have a pool. So it is the experience that we will be more focusing on rather than just a just the room. So gone are those days when hotelier considers room as commodity.
Right.
It's like commodity you are selling. So we want to say the hoteliers, this is not a commodity, this is an IP. Mm-hmm. Each room of your hotel is an intellectual property that you are owning.
Correct.
And therefore, a lot of technological advancement can be done around it, wherein we could match the traveler story to the story of that room. Because every room we think is very unique. The kind of opening it has, the kind of views it has, the kind of people those who have stayed there, the kind of rating. I have seen. You see normally ratings like in the various rating sites, people give rating to the hotels. But if you go a little deeper, it is not rating to the hotel. It is rating to that room and the people who served there.
Right.
So instead of tagging the hotel like 3 rating or 2 rating, we are actually tagging that room, and the hotel management can look into the room for a better experience. If he has 100 rooms and he will find out at the end of 6 months that these are the pockets of room that when people are staying here are getting a little nasty experience or irate experience. However, there are a whole lot of set of other rooms where people are getting fabulous experience.
Right.
So it's a lot of MIS going to the owner of the hotel as well, to get themselves rectified.
Yeah, I'll just add here that even pre-COVID, now of course we are staring at COVID. For the last 2-3 years, I've only had 2 statements to make. In terms of the hotel I've made, I said the amount of money the hotels have spent building their own brand, if it's a chain hotel. I said they're not reduced, there's no brand because the traveler is only looking for a location or a price.
Yeah.
right? He's not asking for the hotel by brand. Those days are gone, that I want to stay at a Hilton. Okay, Hilton is another matter, but even the medium size. So I've always advised smaller online travel companies to stop imitating the big boys of Make My Trip and Yatra, if I may use their name here, and just be driven by that price and location advantage, but rather work with the hotels to create a brand around the hotel. Ask for the hotel by brand and the attributes which go towards a brand. That's the value
Absolutely.
in terms of hotel. The second statement I've made to the traveler always, I said, why is it? And we know why is it, because the hotels were only interested in giving inventory of either price or availability, nothing beyond that. The rest the OTA had to do to bridge that gap between the user and that. And I said, in an airline, I am printing the boarding card before I even get into the airport. I'm booking my seat even before I get into the airport. So why can't I have my registration form done when the time of I'm booking? That's an example. And these are thoughts which hasn't come to my mind during COVID, but has come actually much prior to COVID, right? So especially I'm sure now going forward for your partners, you would be looking at seeing what are the kind of areas you can now bridge in between the consumer and the hotel, which can happen actually outside the hotel before even you enter.
Right, sir. So, sir, I'll also share my 2 cents into whatever you said right now. So, when we formed Booking Genie, the basic foundation of Booking Genie was can a housekeeping guy, can a bellboy check you in and a housekeeping guy can check you out?
Correct.
So, with this fundamental, though we have not arrived yet there, but that's the goal we are looking at to achieve within a year or so. This is number one. Number two is when I was like moving the world, in my previous startup experience that I got, I figured out that technology per se is getting cheaper day by day.
Right.
And technology every day is getting more and more accessible. So I think you would have seen the entire technology, growth in hotel so far in the travel and hotel industry, from possibly those terminal-based, login systems till to this extremely great UI UX. So those computer in a hotel is basically 2-3 people. The front office desk is trained to do computing and somebody in reservation. So I envisage a place wherein your gardener can have an app in his mobile and he can ensure that how the guest experience he can provide. So one of our value is we celebrate success. So in our town halls, I used to say to my team member that can we see a technology tomorrow wherein the view, I'm staying in a room, let's say 306, and it has a garden view, and the purpose why I am happy is because of that view, and who is responsible for that view is that gardener who is taking care of that plant. How can we celebrate that gardener in the hotel so that he is more engaged and he can give great experience to the hotel?
Correct.
So these things, are our building blocks. I can say. We have, as I keep on saying that we have just started. So your vision, Pro, nothing to do with COVID. We also had nothing to do with COVID when we started. That people should go to a hotel as if you are going to another home. People should check into a hotel, understanding that I have booked 306, which is in the 3rd floor. On the left side of the lift, that room is there. Even before I check into the hotel, I already know that my room is there. So, and then we can work on IoTs and all those stuff wherein we can connect their app to the lock of the room, and it can be completely smart room. Right. But first we are taking the distribution and the experience.
Yeah.
And those are the long tails of IoT based. So we would rather be a platform which will facilitate the local startups who are building IoT devices, automating rooms through IoT. They can build their system on our platform.
I agree with you. Early 2000, when the internet had boomed in, I used to head International Travel House, who managed travel offices and car booking offices within the hotels of ITC. And at that stage, I thought that it was short-lived. Because why should the customer who's sitting be ringing somebody to book a car or to book a air ticket, you know?
Right, sir.
So I always thought that the life of having a travel desk was going to be limited. And the second thing, actually, the chairman of the hotels told us is that there will be an e-butler rather than a butler doing things. So when you say Internet of Things, I really would like to imagine an app which draws the drapes, switched on the lighting, does everything which you do in a room before you even enter the room, literally, so to say.
Absolutely, sir. I mean, with the voice command like Alexa coming into place or Google Homes,
Correct.
We are piloting a Genie. Like you enter to the room and you command the hotel name or Genie. Can I order a sandwich?
Yeah.
So a sandwich will be there within no minutes. That's the voice command you can work also.
Right. So, but at least this, we talk about COVID, at least there has been a positive side, and the silver lining has been that the internet penetration and the usage of internet has, of course, grown manyfold. So what is the effect you see in your own plans being accelerated in the short and long term?
Sir, actually, there has been a lot of negative things going on for COVID. From the news and all.
Right.
But when I sit alone, see, you get always influenced by the community, everybody news and everything, dying, people dying, affected,
Right.
Poor people getting more poor, losing jobs and all. But when I sit alone and contemplate about our vision and plans, I feel, COVID is here because, COVID is a blessing to me as a founder of Booking Genie. Now, the product that typically I have not shared with you, on 24th, I am launching this product. That I'm talking about, that seamlessness and the concierge, the VR. A person can look the entire room before he books the room.
Right. Sure.
If you move the camera like this, sitting at your own place, you can actually see the room of that hotel you are trying to book.
Right.
So. So the COVID, this product, when we raised the fund, actually, we also raised the fund from Mumbai Angels. That's one thing Karthik missed. Actually, that was the last fund I raised. So when we raised that fund, that was more of a scaling fund that we did. That we said we are doing, approximately, $500,000 revenue in 1 year. So from there, we want to reach to in 1 year more time, we will reach to 3 million of revenue. So, but this COVID happened, that was a negative impact for COVID because my revenue dropped almost 90%.
Right.
However, good thing happened was the next phase was this particular product that I'm talking about launching in year 2021 August. So my entire technology team, thanks to them, they could, they bought their midnight oil and they brought this product. We plan to launch in 15th August, saying that in this independence, we will give independence to all the hotels. Right. But we got slightly, delayed by a week there. And on Monday, we are launching that product, piloting on invitation to 75 hotels throughout India. And almost 50% are star hotels who are piloting this.
That looks like a very interesting product. But I'll come back to you on the employee engagement.
So, sir, COVID was a blessing for us.
Yeah, it has accelerated your points. And I'm going to, of course, come back to you after this, how you kept the employee morale up. How did you keep? Because again, it's got nothing to do with a small town and a big town, but obviously being located in Bhubaneswar, people feel different kind of pressures than you feel. I'm not saying good or bad, but you feel different pressures in a city like Mumbai and Delhi, etc.
Yes, I agree.
For maintaining those employee engagement. But I'll come back to you. We've talked about your story. We've seen Travel Genie's story. Is there something we have missed out you want to highlight on your story? Something which may be very critical to your plans in future.
Sir, I always in my company also, all my teammates, I believe in a completely transparency. So if I have failed on something, I clearly go ahead and say people that, we couldn't achieve it.
Yes.
So we are an open book. There is absolutely no secret recipe or secret, not secret, but I don't think I have left out anything. But yes, there was a point in time we were covered with the Economic Times and Life Made for startups who showed back to the hub. So my first startup was in Bangalore. Those days I had an inferiority complex within me that Bhubaneswar, a C-class city, why should I go and have a startup there? Should I get the right manpower and so on and so forth? But Bhubaneswar was my hometown. Then, I met one of my mentor, Mr. Subroto Bagchi, who actually was one of the founder of Mindtree.
Mindtree, yes.
Yeah. So he kind of after his chairmanship, he's from Odisha. So once I met him, and those were the time when I was still in Bangalore. I had already started my POC. I mean, the minimum viable product from Bangalore, and then Subroto said me that, hey Subhashish, if everybody tries to go out of Bhubaneswar, then who is going to inspire the next generation?
Absolutely.
So with my CTO those days, Tilochan and me, we were almost packing our bag to have another technology team in Hyderabad. But last moment, it was the last night, we cancelled everything and we said, if we want to become a unicorn or or if not, I mean, that we'll give our best try, but we'll definitely do something from Bhubaneswar. So that at least 10 other startups should be inspired from us and do something here.
Yeah. Subhashish, you are actually personally my flag bearer for that.
Thank you so much.
Because on many forums, currently I've said that why can't I see a Make My Trip coming out of Shillong? Why does it have to come out of Gurgaon? Yeah. And like I said, Karthik mentioned this earlier, so you remain my flag bearer. I do hope to see more companies. When you're today talking about work from home, work from hometown, what is to stop you from setting up internet-driven companies from anywhere? But exactly. Let's come back to the motivation. How do you keep your people motivated, and how did you keep them motivated during these times in a city like Odisha?
Sir, I think in a small city like Odisha, people are more enthusiastic rather than you find people in Bombay, because I have worked for a pretty long period in Bombay and then followed by 3 to 4 years in Bangalore. I have seen people more communicated to the vision in Bhubaneswar. So I had to work for a large company in as I said, ICICI in Bombay. So given an opportunity there, it's a very large market and people have a lot of opportunity to go. So in Bhubaneswar, my advantage is I would be the best company here and I will attract the best talent that is available. And therefore I have a competitive advantage here. If you find an opportunity to go through my Google reviews, definitely some are my employees who had given a review, but this one is very close to my heart. 3 days ago, one person came for an interview here in our office, and he gives a review that this is one of the best office. I had been there for 10 minutes and the best experience I had ever got in an office in Bhubaneswar. Right. Though I am not selected, but I'm proud I gave an interview in this office. Yeah. And this made my day. I mean, this made my day. You can check in the Google.
No, I look at it very simply. If somebody like Karthik who's on the show, when I say somebody like Karthik who's a youngster comparatively and so on, and if he was coming and living in Gurgaon, renting a house in Gurgaon or Delhi or Mumbai, why shouldn't he be able to live in Bhubaneswar in the same manner and build his career out of companies such as yours? Right. Of course, unless he wanted a lifestyle which was based around a bigger city. That's the only thing he probably would lose. He would lose nothing else.
No, sir, rightly said. I mean, when we were actually looking at tech, because the client success is a fresher person can go, we can train them. But when it comes to deep technology and high-end technology, we have a dearth of talent in Bhubaneswar now. But lucky for us, people in LinkedIn every day I get requests from people in Bangalore. 2 types of people request me. One is back to root. So he is a ODI and well off there and now he comes back to Bhubaneswar. And also there are sparks of
reverse
other, yes. So people want to join, in a B class city where cost is less, pollution is less, and travel is not a hassle.
Yeah.
So
talking about roots, I will just add as a thought, and you lived in the US and you work there. is that you might get a lot of non-resident Indians wanting to come back to roots. And there are a lot of people from Orissa, of course, all over the world.
In fact, sir, we just had one similar incident, but due to some reason, he couldn't stay longer with us. Straight from US, Microsoft, he joined us, in Odisha, saying that he want to do something in Odisha.
Yeah.
However, he couldn't. There were some lifestyle issues with his family and all, so therefore we couldn't continue. I'm so grateful to that person who did that. But that was one case. I mean, rightly identified. He is a NRO, non-resident ODI, but he joined for a short stint with us and gave us immense processes. Whatever processes he designed because initial days we didn't had any process. So those processes we are still, implementing.
Right. Let's come back to this fundraising we've talked about in the past. Now, most of the online industry or even startups, when they got funding, it was really 70% of it was attributed to customer acquisition. You threw in money to acquire the customer. Now, I think in many ways, that thing post-COVID will be a thing of the past. I don't see people splurging to acquire a customer that's another matter, that for a few months and years, you may not have great customers. Everybody may be fighting for the same pie. But I don't see too much money being spent acquiring a customer. So therefore, if that is not going to happen, then obviously brand attributes, value, and what you get to the table other than price will be an important factor. But the question I want to ask is that, not necessarily again for startups, how do you see the overall funding scenario change this travel trade going forward? Well, what is your vision on that?
Sir, let me, since you have picked up this financial matter, let me just give you a quick introduction to how we deal with the finance. Sir, I am born of a middle class banker. My father never had a scooter till he retired. He used to go to, office by bicycle. My CTO was, father is still today plowing his field somewhere in Odisha, remote place. One of my co-founder is, his father is a teacher, retired now, but is a very rural, place teacher. Another was a worker in a refractory factory somewhere in Rajgangpur. His father, I'm talking about. So why I'm saying you this, we value money, sir. We know how how cost of every rupee.
Correct.
So that gives an immense, when I share this story with my investors, it gives an immense kind of confidence that we will not let their, hard-earned investment that they have done just like that. What we did was we raised in two tranches actually. So far we have raised. The first tranche was during, creating the product and getting the first set of 1,000 customers. So we had a business plan. We were burning money. And then with that first, I remember $100,000 we raised from Neotia and Singapore Angel. So that money you utilize and become profitable. There was a month when our burn was more than, our income was
more than the burn.
Our expenses. And then we sorted for more fund with the intention that today, if we could make our revenue from X to 10X, so from that, assuming that is 10X to again 100X, we needed fund.
Right.
So this fund was made for that. We wanted again to be profitable with that money we had, and then again, go for our Series A. But however, this COVID happened, and therefore we had a pivot. And the product that we are seeing, we have a different storyline altogether. Now we have a different story of funding. But then in travel, if you are talking of funding, I have already been approached by a private equity firm in US who are interested in travel. So I also asked them, travel is, in a bad shape, hit by COVID, and
last place to come. Yeah.
What prompted you to contact us to invest money with us? So he said, this is the time when you buy shares at low, and they are definitely going to, go up. So we are still in contact these days. So to raise. So investment in travel, if you see the share price of hotel industry, Indian Hotel or Lemon Tree or any other hotel group, they have come down, but they're slowly going up to the normal slowly. Almost 30% up now.
Right.
So, so definitely investment, this is the right people who want to invest should invest in travel startups like us, because there's a huge future. I mean, people are definitely going to travel, and people are, every hoteliers is going to adapt technology more now.
Oh yeah, hotel is very underserved. No, you've demolished, in my mind, a lot of stereotypes of what the internet and technology-driven travel companies should look like in the end, because we had all imagined a particular stereotype. And
Right,
you
sir.
hear it, you come from Bhubaneswar, here it is, you come from, like you said yourself, from a certain background, and all of you take pride in that background to be able to
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
this company.
So, sir, I know I have a photograph in a prominent place in my office. So there was an induction that was Ambuja Neotia has given a very posh office in Calcutta.
Right.
I mean, because of their investment with us.
Huh.
So we have our induction, most of the induction when we happen in there. So from Bhubaneswar to Calcutta, we normally take a train. I mean, when we are traveling 4 to 5 people, we avoid flight because we don't want to spend unnecessarily.
Yes.
That's an overnight journey, so we just
Right.
go.
Yes, I've taken
When-
many of those trains. Yes.
Howrah station, when I just came down and I just clicked a photograph, which was like hundreds of people sitting there, and you would see everybody is having a smartphone in their hand, doing something or the other. So that vision came to my mind. Tomorrow, Booking Genie will be in everybody's mobile, and if anybody is thinking of traveling, they should be thinking about Booking Genie. So I took a photograph on my mobile, and it's a big photograph on a very centered place in very close to all of us.
Great. So I'm going to pass you back to Karthik to conclude, but before I do that, very quick question to you. What kind of collaborations do you see for startups in the travel ecosystem? I've always believed that they need to be collaborating with existing companies more, because
Okay.
there is a need to feed on each other.
Yes, sir.
But it hadn't really happened. So
Right.
quickly, do you see it getting accelerated again? More
Sir,
opportunities?
absolutely. I mean, it's all about community. Future is all about community, sir. Like recently, I was being mentored after this TIE, CNBC Young Turk through TIE members. I've been mentored sometime. Mr. Raman mentors us. He connected to 2-3 startups, and we could see synergy in payment systems, in a couple of IoTs, in VR. So we are all collaborating. However, in travel also, there would be, I envisage that I cannot go and serve in Africa or in Brazil or somewhere in Indonesia. So I would be able to create a platform wherein local startups can come up and build a lot of products over it.
Right. So let me pass you back to Karthik to conclude, and with a wish list that hopefully one day I will get into Bhubaneswar, because like I said, I have traveled a lot to Bhubaneswar, and I love the prawns from Lake Chilka especially.
Oh, wow.
Maybe one day I'll get there.
Definitely, sir.
All right, over to you, Karthik.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ashish, and really inspiring listening to you, Shivashish. And I think you're going to be an inspiration to many other entrepreneurs coming in from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. One small question I think we've got from the audience is, do you expect, and I think we have discussed this with many other guests as well, that everybody believes that domestic tourism is going to be in the near term to be the preferred tourism mode because of cross-country travel restrictions. But do you feel that the domestic hotel industry is actually geared up to handle, that level of volumes? Do they have the right systems, infrastructures, and processes in place? Given to know that, post-COVID also certain compliances around social distancing, hygiene, sanitization would still remain. And we know how most of the hotels, minus the 4-5 star, are very notorious in managing these compliances. So do you think that the domestic hospitality industry is really ready to cater to such requirements?
Karthik, yes, I do think, because, I have been traveling locally here in Bhubaneswar. Puri is a very hotspot traveling, as all of you would be knowing. And my team also keeps on traveling. So I think hotel industry was never so much prepared like today. I think today, every hotel industry, I recently saw a photograph because we serve Odisha Tourism Development Corporation, which is a Odisha, every tourism development corporation we have governments. There is a ecotourism of Odisha. I was today sent as a photograph from Secretary of Forest Department that in the tribals, those who are a community based, totally inside the core jungle, they are being trained how to handle hygiene and they are wearing mask and So I think the Indian hotel industry was never prepared so much to handle the kind of boom that we are going to get.
No, that's really, and we've also got one more question. If we have quickly, we'll take it up. That do you feel that there will be tech usage different post COVID if vaccine is invented? And this is a slightly off track discussion, but even if vaccine is not invented, do you think that it's still going to increase the penetration of digital usage while booking concierge services the way you mentioned?
I think, of course. I mean, when we started in 2016, we had a data pointer wherein there was, three categories of people exist in, globally. One is people who search hotels online and book hotel online. The second category is one is who search hotel online but do not book hotel offline. And then the third category who is offline kind of. They never go online. So those days we had a data that 63% of the people do search a hotel online before booking. However, only 22% book the hotel online.
Actually booked it, yeah.
So there is this huge 35% people who were not booking hotel online in 2016. However, if you look at today, there are another incremental around 8% people who have started booking again online. So this will go on and go on. And maximum penetration is happening on the B class, C class cities. Metros are done.
Right.
Same with hotel technology adoption. You see more technology is adapted by hotel in metros. Even if you go to Paharganj or in Mahipalpur, there will be 50% hotel who still today maintain a register.
Right. Yeah, right.
So my vision is, can this hotel use an app and their security guy can tell you what's the position of their inventory. And so that earlier the legacy products were like on premises. They were like huge computer investment. The moment they think about software, they will say 10 lakhs rupees or 5 lakhs rupees at least investment. So I am saying just download, use, forget. I mean, don't even bother for a small hotel. There are already cases like I adore a company called Zerodha. I adore another company called Khata Book.
Right.
They have been pioneer in doing this. So vision is that my technology if my technology is easing your activity, is giving you easiness of operation, I am not going to charge you money. If I am adding value, if I am making you earn something extra delta to your company in terms of revenue, then give me something. That is the model I am going to transform this world into.
Wow,
because imagine we all are on WhatsApp. How much money we pay to WhatsApp? So if that can be impacted, and it's a valuable company.
Yeah. No, we need more entrepreneurs in India to think like you, because most entrepreneurs we see in India are very short-sighted and they want to make immediate money. I think it's really good to see entrepreneurs like you who have a long-term vision to really add value and generate revenue for their customers. And you've got.
I think, Karthik, more than that, I must thank my mentors like Kapil, Ashish sir. Many have, been very, very instrumental in my thought process. This thought process were like in fragmented silos. These are the people who actually, kind of put that in the crucible, heated them, and something is going to come out, and it's still hitting.
No, in fact, a lot of people are also saying that they really wish to be part of family member of Booking Genie soon. So I'm sure you're hiring people. So a lot of people have expressed interest in joining your journey. They are really inspired by this. So am I. And with this, we are at the end of today's session. Thank you so much, Shubhashish, for taking out time. And we really appreciate you sharing your stories and anecdotes. And I'm sure we've all walked away being more, feeling more happier that and empowered that across India innovation is happening. And we really look forward to receiving good news when you raise your further rounds and you probably become a unicorn sooner than later. So thank you so much again, Shubhashish. Thanks, Ashish, as always. And thanks everyone for joining in. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Subir.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.